come under Order 8 through 4 with regard to matters of urgent public importance. And this is with a view for Parliament as a responsive branch of government to look at the challenges of violence we've had in the Kogi and Bayelsa elections. It is important that Parliament looks into this to avert a reoccurrence of such a situation where citizens, are killed unduly. So with the approval of Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I would like to move it as a matter of urgent public importance, and I would like us to take it today. Suspend our rules to take it today. Thank you.
I second the motion ably moved by the Deputy Minority Leader. Both stanzas of the motion.
In support of that the motion is urgent enough, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Hon Toby, you want to take it now or tomorrow?
Is Toby Okechukwu. I represent an area of Wojiriba Federal Constituency of myself and Honorable Solomon Bob. And this is with regard to the need to investigate the security breaches and violence at the November 16, 2019 elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states. The House notes that the November 16, 2019 elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states witnessed widespread violence, which recorded above a dozen deaths. The House further notes that there are claims by top officers of the Nigerian police that they have prior intelligence that the elections will be violent and that fake police officers were responsible for such violence. The House is aware of reports released by civil society organizations that security officials were complicit in the violence and disruption that characterized the Kogi and Bayelsa elections. The House is also aware that the Youth Initiative for Advocacy, Growth and Advancement, YAGA, in their Situation Room, have questioned the role of security agents who, though saddled with the constitutional responsibility of maintaining the rule of law and defense of citizens' rights, witnessed thugs who stole ballot boxes and orchestrated violence. The House recalls that 66,241 police personnel were deployed for the elections, comprising 35,200 to Kogi and 31,041 to Bayelsa states, respectively, as confirmed by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Abdul Majid Ali, in charge of operations on November 14, 2019. The House is disturbed that in spite of such massive deployment of security personnel, coupled with intelligence reports, the elections witnessed such degree of violence resulting in death of one Mrs. Salom Abu even after the elections. The House is mindful of the constitutional mandate of Parliament and need to forestall such reoccurrence. The House resolves to constitute a joint committee of the Police Affairs Committee, the Army, Justice, Electoral Matters, and Human Rights to investigate the pre- and post-election security breaches in Kogi and Bayelsa, including the alleged presence of fake police officers and unmitigated violence during the election, and recommend ways to forestall such reoccurrence. I so move.
Solomon Bob. I am from River State. And I rise to move the second motion, very well moved by my distinguished colleague. I so second.
It was not possible to have this level of violence orchestrated. Even the 2019 presidential, gubernatorial, and National Assembly elections were not as violent as what we had on November 16th. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we are not yet talking about the quality of the elections. We are talking about citizens losing their lives because we have to do a civil duty. Exercise that franchise that has been constitutionally guaranteed to go and vote. There is something wrong with a situation where there is over 30,000 security personnel in Kogi State and 30,000 security personnel in Bayelsa State, and as confirmed by the Nigerian police, and we still witness such a mayhem. It presupposes that the number of people who were responsible for the violence would have overwhelmed the police, or in the alternative, that we're just sitting there and looking. In whatever way, crime or irresponsibility is committed by commission or omission. If you fail to do your duty, Mr. Speaker, you are liable. If you do your duty and you do it in breach of the law, you are liable, Mr. Speaker. What we are trying to do is to avert a situation where this becomes the new normal, where we are looking at it and we say it is Kogi today, or it is Bayelsa today, and tomorrow you don't know whichever state. Edo State is coming, Mr. Speaker, Anambra State will soon come, and Ondo State will come. Look, we cannot say that as a country we are in a season of anomy. The man dies in him who keeps silent in the face of such ugly tyranny of those who have, instruments to orchestrate violence. We have seen the viral effect of such video. And our people, everybody is a journalist these days. There is need for Parliament to interrogate such mayhem. It has never happened. We've never witnessed it as such. And the unfortunate aspect of it is that this was anticipated. It was imagined. And there was no, in fact, it didn't require a prophet to prophesy it, because the security agencies predicted that it would happen. And they deployed adequate number of personnel. Mr. Speaker, we would want to ask, what happened to the deployment and what happened that they didn't take care of their basic responsibility? So I would like us to look at it dispassionately. Because if it's Bayelsa, it could come to any other state. And you don't know who will be responsible tomorrow. We should make sure that we interrogate this as citizens, that there are certain behaviors that cannot be tolerated in this country. So, Mr. Speaker, from what has been said from the security agencies, from what has been said by civil society, from what has been said by witnesses, it is very apparent that something is wrong. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the nation of Sunday, this past immediate Sunday, past Sunday, look at the back page of the nation. The nation properly analyzed and interrogated the unmitigated violence and questioned the integrity of the Nigerian state. Our responsibility and primary one is to keep law and order. If we fail to do that, we would have failed in living up to the spirit and letter of our Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, I invite my colleagues to make sure that this kind of violence is prevented in the future. It should never be allowed to happen. And the only way to do it is interrogate what has happened. Thank you very much. I will never, ever tolerate a situation where the blood of any Nigerian is spilled because of election or succession. As a matter of fact, as Honorable Kiru pointed out, a member of this parliament, in the exercise of his franchise, Honorable Sugar from Oyo State, he was killed in the process of going to cast his vote. Mr. Speaker, what we are talking about is that I didn't discuss elections here. As a matter of fact, I deliberately did not discuss the quality of elections that was conducted in Kogi. I only discussed the security. And wherever and whenever it happens, it should not be tolerated. You had your elections as a parliamentarian, Mr. President has his own, the governors had their own. We accepted Rivers State and investigated it because it was manifestly evident that something was abnormal. Any violence anywhere should not be taken as the new normal. And as a matter of fact, the police is investigating. You know, it is good the police counsels themselves, but a number of other stakeholders were involved in that election. And you may not be equipped sufficiently to see the imperfections in your own conduct. And what we need to do is to find out what actually happened. As the Chief Whip said, somebody should move a private member's motion to have a commission, bill, to have a commission. It is the benefit that we get from these investigations that will inform the kind of agency or commission we have for electoral offenses. So, Mr. Speaker, if inadvertently or advertently members have argued along particular lines, nobody is born a party man. You make that choice as a person, as a Nigerian citizen, to associate with any political party. But when you are killed as a Nigerian, Mr. Speaker. And we must make sure that any situation that might lead to that should be prevented. And that is why further legislative action by this parliament is needed. And we are not doing it out of, it is a call to duty. We are not volunteering to do it. It is the responsibility of parliament to work in concert with other organs of government to make sure that this country is ruled by law, and we make sure that that law procures order and good governance. It is the performance of our duty that we are trying to discharge. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. It is not a partisan matter. Thank you.
Honorable Toby, the Deputy Speaker made reference during his contribution to the possibility of prejudice. And being unmindful myself of Order 9, Rule 1, Sub-Rule 5, which I will read to you, says reference shall not be made to any matter on which a judicial decision is pending in such a way as might, in the Speaker's opinion, prejudice the interests of parties thereto. Now, granted that this will be in the Speaker's opinion, but in the spirit that we are one house, I want you to help me form an opinion. The Deputy Speaker has said that it is possible, it is not outside the realm of possibility, that whatever the outcome of this debate can be used to argue a particular case one way or the other, against or for the parties in court. Not only the debate, which almost degenerated based on some contributions to partisanship, not only the debate, but assuming that the question is carried, even the investigation and the outcome of the investigation can possibly influence or prejudice the outcome of the court proceedings. So I want you to tell me what your own opinion is that in view of Order 9, Rule 5.
We are not seeking to condemn what happened. Neither are we even seeking to condemn any violence or anything. What we have asked for, Mr. Speaker, is that we should investigate what transpired and
Those in support of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it.